All right. Well, hey, good morning, North family. Welcome to another First 15. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We believe the first 15 minutes given to Jesus is the best 15 minutes of the day. And we're so thankful that you're hanging out with us. We're going to be jumping into Philippians chapter 2, verse 5 through 8 today. Paul's letter to this church and the encouragement that we get from that. And let's just go ahead and get into verse 5. And it says this, "And consider the example that Jesus, the anointed one, has set before us. Let his mindset become your motivation." I love that. Consider the example. It's amazing what happens when we pause and consider things. It works both negative and positive in our life. When we consider the good things, it leads us down better paths. When we consider the bad things, there's potential for a negative outcome. And I love what Paul does here, because he doesn't say, consider the good things you could do, the good things other people are doing. He says, consider the example of Jesus. Consider Jesus. What would happen today if we just considered him all day? And what if his mindset became our motivation? And what was Jesus's mindset? Well, it was clear throughout the Gospels. It was to love people. And so today I want to challenge you as we begin this first 15 to set your mind right. If you got to hit the pause button, hit that pause button and just spend some time thinking about who Jesus is, the character of who he is, the way that he loved people, the interactions that he had, and let his mindset become your motivation. And then once you've done that, I invite you to pray this prayer with me. Jesus, today I pause to consider the incredible example you laid down for me. You always put others first, and you loved with your life. Today, I want to live out that love to all those around. Help me today to be motivated by the things that motivated you. And then in verse 6, Paul says this, "He existed in the form of God, yet he gave no thought to seizing equality with God as his supreme prize." Like, here's what we know about Jesus. He was God, but yet when he walked this earth, he walked as a man, and he treated people with love. He served people. He could have easily been superior to those around him. He could have thrown the weight of that around. And I just think about what we do in our life. Isn't it amazing how our insecurities put us in these awkward positions to throw around our titles and to throw around our achievements and to throw around our possessions? And none of that means anything. I mean, Jesus, the most powerful person to ever walk the earth, never used that power for his personal gain. He used it for other people. And what would happen if you and I used our resources, the things that we felt gave us esteem? What if we use that to serve other people and to give to other people? And so I just invite you to hit that pause button and reflect a little bit. What are the resources you have right now in your life that maybe you're not using to the fullest potential for other people? And then when you've thought through that, I invite you to pray this prayer with me. Jesus, I ask in this moment that you would eliminate from my heart my need to win. Today, help me to lay aside what's fair so that I can embrace sacrificial love. You above all others should have been greater, but you chose to be less for those around you. Help me to serve today, and in so doing, glorify your name. And then we're going to hop over to verse 7, where he says, "Instead, he emptied himself of his outward glory by reducing himself to the form of a lowly servant. He became human." I mean, what an incredible sacrifice, that God became flesh, that he experienced the things that we experience, and he suffered the way that we suffered. And because of that, Scripture says that we can come to him with confidence, and we know that we're going to receive grace and mercy. Listen, he has been there. So whatever you're going through today, he's been there. He gets it. He knows what you're going through, and you can have confidence in coming to him. The question is, are you coming to him? Are you trusting him with the things that are happening in your life? Do you know that he can get you through it? And so as you're taking a moment to reflect on that, the things that maybe you're struggling with, the things that maybe you're holding on to, the things that are holding you back, I just invite you to pray this prayer with me. And concerning these things, Jesus, I can't even begin to thank you enough for the sacrifice you made when you became a man. Because you took human form, you understand the struggles I go through. You laid down your right to yourself for the rights of others. Help me today to do the same. And then finally, we're going to end this thing in verse 8, where Paul says he humbled himself and became vulnerable, choosing to be revealed as a man and was obedient. He was a perfect example, even in his death, a criminal's death by crucifixion. And this, in the end, is the final part. You know, when a couple years ago, I kind of had this moment in my life that really drove me into selling out to ministry and selling out to what God was calling me to do with my life. And I had this kind of moment where I realized that in order for something in your life to be great, you got to be willing to die for it. You got to be willing to die for it. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like in the end, the things that we commit ourselves to are going to take from us. They're going to take literally our life. I mean, time is the biggest thing, right? Time is the most precious resource we have, because once it's gone, it's gone. And so the things that we invest ourselves in take our time. And so the question you have to ask yourself, the question I have to ask myself is, what is worth my time? Because time is a reflection of my life. So ultimately, what's worth my time is what's worth my life. And in the end of your life, you will die to something. You will pour everything you have into it till you don't have anything left. And when I had that moment in my life, I knew there was only two things that for me I was willing to die for, and that was my family, and that was the call to ministry, to spend my life telling people about Jesus. And I'm so thankful that I get to do that here at North, and I get to spend time with students, and I get to spend time with people in the church, and I get to talk about Jesus, and I'm blessed to be able to do that. And I want to spend my whole life doing that thing. And I just want to ask you, what is the one thing you want to spend your whole life doing? You know, where has God called you to be faithful? At your job, with your family, with your friend groups, with the people in your neighborhood. Every single one of us has a calling. Listen, I'm called to be here at North to do this work here, but you may be called to do the work of the Lord where you work, in your business, in coaching, and being involved in the community. There are so many ways for us to sell out to Jesus, but we got to sell out. And that's what Jesus did. Ultimately, the end of this run, of the way that he treated people and the way that he loved people and the way that he saw himself and saw others, ended with him giving his life ultimately for us. And I want to be the kind of person that gives my life for Jesus. And I want people to see that. And I want to see other people give their life to Jesus. Because in the end, that's the only thing worth dying for, is the salvation we have in him. And so I just encourage you, hit that pause button, maybe reflect a little bit on what is it that you are selling out to right now in your life? What is taking your time? What is taking the essence of who you are? And do you feel like it's worth it? Is what you're dying into worth dying for? And I invite you to say just this short, simple prayer. Jesus, today, I don't want to just die to my need to be number one, but I want the things in me that keep me from you to die as well. And that's the prayer, right? That it's not about us being on top. It's not about these things that don't matter. We need all of that to just be over at the foot of the cross so that we can be everything that Jesus wants us to be. And I believe you can do that. I believe today could be the day that you start fresh. Today could be your day one to say, God, I am all in and I'm selling out to you. Just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with us every day for this first 15. It means so much that you would take the time to do this. And it is our hope that this moment stirs your hearts and affections for Jesus. And we believe today is going to be a great day for you. We love you. We're praying for you. And we can't wait to see you next time.